Hi, I'm Vince Slough at Cornell University, and I'm here to talk about the inaugural Child Welfare Operations Research Symposium, co-organized with Alan Scheller-Wolf and Andy Trapp. Uh, this video is a little bit of a recap of how this came about and what happened, in case you're interested in doing other public sector operations research collaborations for other topics, or if you're interested in the topic of child welfare operations, we want to share a little bit about this community that is forming. I've worked on child welfare projects that a paper published in Interfaces in 2016 about the Pennsylvania statewide adoption network, and have focused more on the part of the child welfare system, foster care and adoption, placement, and matching. And it was exciting to learn about some other research groups that are also working on child welfare topics in other parts of the system. So, Alan, how long have you been working on child welfare?
So I've been working probably about a year. I'm at the Tepper School of Business, and we were approached by the Pittsburgh Children, Youth, and Families, and we initiated a couple of projects related to the upstream investigation and provision of services for children. So the first project incorporates the use of an AI tool along with human call screeners to decide which cases should be screened in for investigation. The final decision is made by the screener and the supervisor using information from the case as well as from the tool. The fundamental question is how the tool can be used to take into account system load, because when the system is very busy, you might want to screen fewer cases in so as not to clog the system. And when the system is less busy, you might bring in more cases that are sort of on the margin to see if there are people who want to provide services. So that's an empirical investigation about the drivers of that. We're also looking at a project which could potentially help agents doing the investigations where they're determining whether services should be provided, to help them allocate effort across cases. They're heavily overloaded, so they have to try to put in effort for some cases, but that, of course, takes effort away from others because effort is finite, and they have to figure out how best to allocate effort across the different case characteristics they have. Those are two projects ongoing. I've had a good relationship with the organization here. They seem eager to use data and operations research techniques to try to make the system better for the kids and the families and the people working within it.
Great, thanks, Alan. And Andy, you've been working on a lot of exciting projects about uh, uh, operations research for vulnerable populations, and how long has it been since you uh, worked on child welfare topics?
Yeah, great. It's great to be here. I think, gosh, I think 2016, we still, I don't know if I'm proud or embarrassed about that, but I mean, we were developing something that's really deploying in the field, an operations research solution. And this is around improving foster care visitation scheduling. So these visitation meetings that need to happen between the court mandated between foster parent, foster children and biological parents need to happen regularly, weekly, sometimes twice weekly. And so the county representatives are responsible for transporting these children, one or more children for each case, to the meeting location, and then picking them up and driving them over to kind of where they're going. It may or may not be the same place. So it's a logistical, quite a challenge, somewhat of a nightmare in some sense when they have over a dozen employees that are driving and supervising. And so they reached out, I think it was 2016, maybe it was 2017. And since then, we've been kind of working on this regularly, and we're very near now to a deployment. And this is with partners in Orange County, New York. So excited about that, and just excited in general to see what the power of operations research can be doing in the child welfare space.
Great. And it was earlier this year that made the connections that we have, the three of us are part of research groups that are working on related topics. So we had the idea of all getting together and bringing our practitioner friends with us too, and our research collaborators, and coming to Cornell University. So on November 9th, thanks to some support from the Cornell Center for Social Sciences, we got to get food for everyone for a day, gather together about 15 practitioners, 15 academics in Statler Hall in a beautiful room, and just have some conversations about how we could collaborate. So you can see Alan mid gesticulation in this day of discussion.
And I'm right behind him there.
And so this is a model that I've seen for hospitality. Cornell's Nolan School of Hotel Administration having industry roundtables. So we had a roundtable. I'll share some of the what the agenda looked like. We got together for an evening reception. Then got to get to know each other through meals at the restaurant, breakfast and lunch, and then in the morning sessions we started by getting to know, hearing everyone's background and how they got involved in their operations research or child welfare, and then we opened up discussion about challenges and opportunities to hear from the practitioners. The day started with sort of the entry points into the child welfare system, referrals and abuse reports, and how operations research can be helpful there. Alan's collaborators gave a presentation. Then we progressed sort of through the system and talked about foster care and adoption and opportunities and challenges working with placements after removal and finally into adoption finalizations. So we had talks from about foster care visitation and then about search and matching for adoption. We had a really good group that attended. Some people who've been collaborators of ours, some people from Allegheny County, my collaborator Thea Ramirez from Adoption Share, which is a matching platform. We had some other people who just are just beginning connections to this group, like Carla Aaron from Tennessee's Department of Children's Services, and we had Daphne Torres Douglas from the Children's Village in New York City. I came away really enthusiastic about the opportunities, the power of operations research to help practitioners make better decisions, to provide better tools that could be deployed in the field to help some of the leaders in their strategic thinking. Alan, what was your feeling? What were some of the what did gathering in this forum and talking about child welfare and operations research, what did it reveal to you about the possibilities for the future?
So I found it incredibly valuable to have the practitioners, the people you mentioned. We also had the people from I guess Boston, Andrew's collaborators. And so we got a lot of perspectives about the system from different places, and they were really knowledgeable. They could even tell us about things that were happening in Texas. And so I got a real feeling for the challenges that the practitioners face, on the case level and on the, institutional management level. And so it gave real depth to the problem. I was also sort of, I guess inspired is the best word, at the different things they're trying, about their willingness to talk honestly about what they're doing and their successes and the things that aren't yet successful, and their enthusiasm for working with operations research and data to try to make things better. It's hard to find good partners if you want to use OR to do practical work. And I was impressed by the caliber of the partners we potentially had in the room. And so that's sort of what made me the most optimistic. What did you think, Andy?
Well, I agree with a lot of the sentiments you shared. It was amazing. Everyone really seemed to gel, respected one another's, opinions, even if they didn't always concur, and usually complimented one another. So the roundtable format was amazing. I thought people really added value. There's a lot of unique insights. First, we had people from a lot of different slices of the child welfare system, which is great, from caseworkers to deputy commissioners and at state levels and things. So very, very great, great different segmentation there. And we could hear nuances that I had no idea about, which was great. I also feel like, and I don't want to take this for granted, because I think that the three, the operations research folks in the room, I feel like we approached this from, like an intentional point of view, a thoughtful, I think, way to engage, and I think that was received, right? And I think it's kind of meeting in the middle, right? Like, they are expert. Child welfare folks are experts in what they do, and we heard their expertise and kind of engaged with that. And likewise, they're recognizing the things that we could do as we started presenting more and more. So I think there's a lot more to discuss, and maybe this leads into the next, part of what we want to talk about is, what's next. And I feel I'm really optimistic, not just generally about what operations research can do in the child welfare space, but where this goes from here.
Great, and yeah, that's it's definitely, there's sentiment to continue this as a as maybe an annual event, as a roundtable that we can bring together, add new people who are interested, and maybe rotate around to different places, or bring everyone back to Cornell and keep conversations like this going. It's as Alan said, it's really special to bring a very focused, thoughtful group of practitioners who are willing to share and guide us and through the system to figure out what problems to work on. So we hope that continues. Some of the insights from this will inform efforts that different people are involved with in 2024, hopefully sharing some survey papers, or writing some topics, writing papers or chapters that are on the child welfare system. So hopefully we'll have some things from the to share with the community. And if you're interested in child welfare work, please get in touch with one of us, and it's and we can keep an informal community. We have an informal community of people, but I think all of us are thrilled by the prospect of using our professional skills with operations research to help a system that definitely needs it.
As a child welfare professional, I found it extremely rewarding to be able to talk with research operations professionals, because they bring a whole different mental model to challenges in child welfare. And what that does is that it allows us to reframe the questions we're asking about how to improve outcomes for children and families. It allows us to bring in the expertise of operations research with whole new approaches to problem solving, mathematical modeling, use of data, and ideas about optimization. Usually in child welfare, we talk about continuous quality improvement. And this was an opportunity really to talk about continuous quality improvement turbocharged, because ideas of optimization talk about how do we design processes, systems, resource allocation in a way to get the best possible outcomes. So all of that helped to start looking at the assumptions that we use when we practice child welfare in new ways. So it is an interdisciplinary exercise in a way that will blend what child welfare knows and does best with what operations research knows and does best. It feels like a real opportunity to get to innovation. And across all the differences that child welfare professionals and operations research professionals bring to the table, there's one central theme, and that's that we all recognize we live in the same world. We all recognize that unless we do something to help families bring up their children in safety, unless we do something to protect children who are not safe, it's going to have consequences for those children and for all of our futures. And so there was a real commitment around the table to bringing the best of what we all have to problem solving so that we can create new streams of knowledge and really start uncapping solutions to challenges that have been plaguing us for a long time in the child welfare domain.
Hi, my name is Thea Ramirez. I am the founder and CEO at Adoption Share, a nonprofit organization that's leveraging technology to help children in the foster care system achieve permanency through family. I was so honored and humbled to be invited to sit in and participate at the first ever symposium at Cornell for child welfare. And I think one of the big sort of aha moments for me was just the realization of what sort of brain power can be channeled when we bring people together in one place, having operation systems researchers from very different university systems and schools that are studying different things, really listening to those that have lived experience in the field, so that we can have an amalgam of both data and research and science, along with the perspectives of those that are impacted by the system, those both youth lived experience and also practitioners in the field that are working, devoting their lives to helping make differences for children and families in their communities. So it was a real pleasure to be there, and I can totally see the potential of this continuing, and I hope it does.
I think personally for me, it was very helpful. I've learned a lot, like from the practitioners especially. So I think one of the takeaways for me was that, like, how can we change the system from like being fear-based to like fear-induced to like trust-based system. So that the social workers can trust like the works that we are doing, and also children's side. So from the children's side also, that's true. So that's one of the takeaways. For example, for the practitioners, I think it's very important like to be a good listener. And the work that I'm doing, I think it's important like to share the insights and the result that I gain like from multiple practitioners, to hear what might be like the effects or impacts on the children that I didn't think about it. So that's one thing. And one interesting thing for me was like how we can individualize these tools that we are developing for the children and their families. So I think we are far from there at the moment, but like I think in every step that we are taking, we can think about it like how we can move toward that goal at the end. And another thing was that like it seems that there is missing like relation between the different like nonprofits and the organization who are helping these children and the families. So how we can possibly connect them like to get like the best performance from them, like provide the best and the highest quality service for those children and their families. So these are some takeaways. Like
since I am an engineer and statistician by training, I'm always drawn to using technology and analysis to solve problems, but seeing some use of those tools to improve child welfare, either operationally or the experience, is fantastic. And I liked the fact that it kept coming back to the children and child or the families.
But I just want to say that it was this symposium was very useful for me, because as a person in academy, I'm really motivated to do some impactful research. And Professor Crab and I have already discussed about which area in child welfare is better to focus on. And this symposium really helped us to have more ideas for the areas in our future research, to know about more challenges in this area, the real challenges. Like, for example, it was mentioned that the demand for children to get adopted is not even. It's like for teenagers, there is less demand, and there should be something done for that, things like that. So it was very useful for me to identify the real challenges in this area.